Hey, welcome to the channel. We said that we'd return. Woo! Here we are again with another exciting and free episode of Before You Bet, God's favorite sports betting program and the #1 MMA podcast in Papua New Guinea. You give us a few moments of your time and we will make sure that you get all of the knowledge, statistics, and information that you're going to need before placing wagers on UFC fights. I'm the creator and host of Before You Bet, Bobby Matthews. Let's begin. This episode of Before You Bet is for UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor, the trilogy, taking place July 10th, back in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can watch the event streaming live on ESPN Plus at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The main event of UFC 264 is a trilogy fight in the lightweight division between Dustin the Diamond Poirier taking on the notorious Conor McGregor. Now, Dustin Poirier has got a 27-6 professional record with 14 TKOs, 6 wins by submission, and 7 wins by decision. Let's take a look at Conor McGregor's side. He's got a 22-5 professional record with 19 TKOs and 1 submission victory. He's got 2 wins by decision. I'd like to thank absolutely no one for teaching me how to do an Irish accent. I taught myself, and it sounds horrible. Moving on, let's take a look at some knowledge, statistics, and information that you are going to need before placing wagers on this fight. Starting off with the odds, Dustin Poirier is a -130 favorite, meaning if you wanted to bet on Poirier to win, you would have to wager $130 in order to win 100. Looking at the odds for Conor McGregor, he is a +100 underdog, meaning if you wanted to bet on McGregor to win, a wager of $100 would win you $100. Taking a look at the over-under line on this fight, the over-under line is set at 1.5 rounds, with the over priced at -200 and the under priced at +160. Conor McGregor will have a slight 2-inch reach advantage, born in Lafayette, Louisiana, and fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida. Dustin Poirier is 19-5 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, beating Conor McGregor by TKO back in January, also beating Dan Hooker by unanimous decision last June. Poirier is 15-3 as a favorite and 5-3 as an underdog. Poirier is also 6-3 in UFC main events. In 9 of those main events, 5 have finished under 2.5 rounds. Born in Dublin, Ireland, Conor McGregor is 10-3 in the UFC, coming off the knockout loss to Dustin Poirier back in January. Conor McGregor is 13-2 as a betting favorite. He is also 0-1 as an underdog. McGregor is 7-3 in UFC main events. 8 out of 10 of those main events have finished under 2.5 rounds. All of our knowledge, statistics, and information has been brought to you by the Before You Bet Guide. Everything you need to know before you bet. It gives you an early look at the odds so you can keep up with all the line movement throughout the fight week. You also get a tail of the tape and stats and trends that nobody else is talking about. Details on how you can get your very own copy of the Before You Bet Guide are coming soon. Tune into the Before You Bet show where we give you our picks for free. Here's one now. Before You Bet's official pick for the winner of UFC 264 is Conor McGregor. We predict that he is going to get a TKO victory over Dustin Poirier late in the second round. The co-main event takes place in the welterweight division when Gilbert Dorino Burns takes on Wonderboy Stephen Thompson. Now, Gilbert Burns has got a 19-4 professional record with 6 TKO wins, 8 wins by submission, and 5 wins by decision. Stephen Thompson has got a 16-4-1 professional record with 7 wins by TKO, 1 win by submission, and 8 wins by decision. Go ahead and take a look at the odds with our Before You Bet guide here. Gilbert Burns is a plus 125 underdog. Stephen Thompson is a minus 155 favorite. At the time of recording this video, the over-under line on this fight has not been set. If you are able to get the over-under line on this fight, more power to you. Gilbert Burns is going to be 4 years younger. Stephen Thompson will have a 4-inch reach advantage and a 3-inch height advantage. Born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida, Burns is 12-4 in the UFC, coming off a TKO loss to the welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman, back in February. Burns is 9-1 as a favorite and 3-3 as an underdog. In 16 fights in the UFC, 8 have finished under 2.5 rounds. The other 8 have gone over 2.5 rounds. Here's a stat you pay attention to or write down. 7 out of the 8 that have gone over have also gone to decision. Born in Simpsonville, South Carolina, Stephen Thompson is 11-4-1 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, beating Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque, both by unanimous decision. Thompson is 10-4-1 as a favorite and 1-0 as an underdog. 10 out of Thompson's 16 fights in the UFC have gone over 2.5 rounds. 7 out of his last 8 have gone to decision. Our official pick for the co-main event is going to be Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And if you're nasty, you should pick Wonderboy by decision. In the heavyweight division, Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa takes on former NFL player and habitual woman beater Greg Hardy. Now, Tai Tuivasa has got a 12-3 professional record with 11 TKOs, 0 wins by submission, and only 1 win by decision. Greg Hardy has got a 7-3 professional record with 6 TKOs, 0 wins by submission, and 1 win by decision. The odds for this fight have got Tai Tuivasa as a minus 130 favorite. Greg Hardy is a plus 100 underdog. This is going to be a striker versus striker matchup. The southpaw Tai Tuivasa will be 4 years younger than his opponent, Greg Hardy. Hardy will have a 3-inch height and 5.5-inch reach advantage. You usually find this man over at the Esky cooking snags, drinking shoeies, but this Saturday he's going to be stepping into the octagon for the 9th time, representing New South Wales, Australia. Tai Tuivasa is 5-3 in the UFC on a 2-fight win streak, beating Harry Hunsucker and Stefan Struve, both in the first round by knockout. Tuivasa is 5-2 as a favorite, 0-1 as an underdog. 11 out of 15 of his pro fights have finished in the very first round. Greg Hardy has got a 4-3 record in the UFC with 1 no contest. Coming off a TKO loss to Marcin Tybura back in December, Hardy is 5-2 as a favorite and 1-1 as an underdog. 7 out of 10 of his pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. But be careful with that, because 3 out of Hardy's last 5 fights have gone to decision. Our official pick for this fight is going to be the Aussie, oi, 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 shoey, 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 bam, 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 Tai Tuivasa. hoping that he gets the job done by decision. The next fight up is in the women's bantamweight division when Irene Robles Aldana takes on Foxy Yana Kunitskaya. Now, Irene Aldana has got a 12-6 professional record with 6 TKOs, 3 wins by submission, and 3 wins by decision. Kunitskaya has got a 14-5 professional record with 7 TKOs, 1 win by submission, and 6 wins by decision. The odds for this fight have got Irene Aldana as a -120 favorite. Yana Kunitskaya is a +105 underdog. Again, on this fight, the over-under line was not set during the time of making this video. This is going to be a striker versus striker matchup. Irene Aldana will have a 3-inch reach advantage. Fighting out of Guadalajara, Mexico! Irene Aldana is 5-4 in the UFC, coming off a unanimous decision loss against Holly Holm last October. Aldana is 7-3 as a betting favorite and 2-2 as an underdog. 7 out of her 9 fights in the UFC have gone to decision. Born in Murmansk, Russia, Kunitskaya is 5-2 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, beating Kitlin Vieira and Zahulia Stolyarenko, both by unanimous decision. Kunitskaya is 4-0 as a betting favorite and 1-3 as an underdog. 4 out of her last 6 fights in the UFC have gone to decision. But be careful if you bet on the over, because 14 out of 19 of her pro fights have finished under 2.5 rounds. Our official pick for this fight is going to be Yana Kunitskaya by decision. The opening fight in the main card is in the men's bantamweight division when Sean O'Malley takes on Chris Moutinho. Sean O'Malley has got a 13-1 professional record with 9 TKOs, 1 win by submission, and 3 wins by decision. Chris Moutinho has got a 9-4 professional record with 3 wins by TKO, 1 win by submission, and 5 wins by decision. The odds have got Sean O'Malley priced as a huge favorite at -900. Meaning, if you wanted to wager on Sean O'Malley to win this fight, you would have to wager $900 in order to win 100. Chris Moutinho is a +450 underdog. Sean O'Malley is going to be 2 years younger than his opponent. He is also going to have a 4-inch height and 5-inch reach advantage. Born in Helena, Montana, and fighting out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Sean O'Malley is 5-1 in the UFC, coming off a 3rd-round TKO win over Thomas Almeida back in March. O'Malley is 6-1 as a favorite and has not been an underdog in his career. 9 out of his 14 pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. Chris Moutinho is making his UFC debut on Saturday, stepping in for Luis Smolka, who has staph infection. Chris Moutinho is currently on a 2-fight win streak. Our official pick for this fight is going to be Sean O'Malley, predicting that he'll get the job done in the very first round by knockouts. And that wraps up the main card portion of Before You Bet. We will return with the prelim portion of Before You Bet coming soon. But until then, I want to hear from you. Sound off in the comments. Let me know who your best bet is for the main card on UFC 264. My best bet is going to be Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But let me know what you think. Until then, don't forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more UFC and sports gambling content.